Leonard with Between the Two Talk with a K, no S. I get beat up all the time about that. But we're glad that you came here and you're enjoying your time with us. We got another great topic like we always do. But like I said, forget about that. Who do we have next to me? That's the real question. Introduce yourself.
It's me, Derek Chambers. You can call me D.
And I'm in a hot seat once again. I'm glad to be back. My name is Keo Gamble.
Keo.
Mr. Hot Seat. Let's go.
Well, our topic today didn't actually come from me. It came from Derek. So what is the topic today, man?
The topic is, as men, and some of y'all watching is not going to think that. Let's just be reality. Other than sports, we really ain't running nothing. You know, we get more ratings in basketball than women get in basketball. But why are we losing? Why are we not at the top of anything other than maybe incarceration rate?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Before we jump into that, make sure you like, share, and comment below because we want to know your thoughts on why we're losing. But honestly, I think it's we don't know how to win. We've never been taught how to win. If we don't know how to win, if we haven't been taught those, then how do we know how to win? Right?
That's a good point.
Who do we look up to?
Winners.
But growing up, who are we looking up to?
Entertainers.
Athletes and entertainers.
Right.
Yep.
We don't see
Hood
the
figures.
tech gurus. We don't see those who built a business because what happens is a lot of times they move out of the hood and they don't come back.
Right.
They don't pass down that knowledge. They don't reach back. That's why I think we don't know how to win. So the next generation is just still stuck trying to figure it out in a system that's not meant for us to win.
And it's crazy because it's out there. Every generation has at least one male figure that you can say, whether it be Martin Luther King or this is kind of weird, or you in the hood, or Malcolm X, or if you're in the hood, Tookie Williams, even though that's not necessarily the example, but like everybody has this guy that they can look to. But the problem is sometimes as men, I think we're so arrogant. I used to sit there and study. I kid you not, I know more millionaires than I know billionaires. When I come to studying success, that's all I used to do. Like I go on little rants of time and I just studied. There was time, at least for a year, I just studied book after book on success. Right. So it's weird because the question is it them not teaching us or us still not manning up? Because I have an opinion, but I want to hear yours first, like, or one of y'all's like, is it, because we can say, they didn't pass it down. The question is, are we looking up? Are we looking back? Are we like, what is?
Let me say.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go sprinkle some knowledge on us, man.
I'm a sprinkler.
Yeah.
So without dating myself.
Nah, man.
All right.
He's 43, just so y'all know.
I don't know. 44.
I just shot my shot. I just threw that
up. So since you know that, man, when I grew up, we didn't have the internet. Wasn't no such thing.
Yeah.
Facts.
Right? So it was a little harder to access information. Nowadays, it ain't many reasons why people can't access information. I won't say just kids, it's adults too, because it ain't too late to flip over and change or catch up or whatever the case may be. It's out there. You got to get it, right? But you need to know it exists to go get it. The cool part about the internet, it's like a rabbit hole. Once you jump in, it's just they go, and then you end up doing what you do and get stuck on some information, right?
Yeah.
All you got to do is get started on that information. So when you say they're not teaching, a while back you needed somebody to teach you something because they had all the information, or it was tucked in the book that we didn't know about. But now the internet is there. All you got to Google is success. It's gone. Right?
That's a very interesting point because we say, why are we losing looking at our generation? Like me and you, like we're on the cusp, right, of that information where we have just access to everything. Right. So after us, there's no excuse.
Right.
But before us, it's like you needed to be taught. You needed to be shown that thing. And so that's very interesting that you said that because maybe we're not necessarily losing. Maybe we're actually on the come up. We're just not there yet because we're finally looking up rather than them reaching back, right?
And not to be so challenged, but I'm saying this from just a really dear place. We shouldn't even be catching up. When I say catching up, it should be if I would start walking over there, the owner of this beautiful
immaculate mansion.
Too much, yeah. Nah, if I go back here, this is a good example. This is what led me on this recent journey. I had some things going in my life, and it took me on this big journey about manhood. Because I thought I knew it, because my career, everything was not career, but everything was going right. But I know something. Here's the thing. I started looking at Animal Kingdom. If I go walk past that going down there, she has dogs. Dogs protected. I promise you, I go back. The dog gonna let me know what's going on. He gonna bark. There's something that he's gonna let me know that, hey, I got this going on. It should already be aware. So when it comes to a man should have the innate ability to be like, this is my kingdom. This is my king. I hear people talking about, what's up, king? What's up, queen? Now, if you a king, it should be evident. A lion don't need nobody to tell us a lion. Come closer, he gonna bite you. Now, that's not to mean. Now, here's the thing. What we like to do is display a bunch of stuff and how hard we are, how this over there. But if I just pull up on you, if I just pull up on a woman, women have intuition. A woman should pull up on you, she already know you the man. You ain't got to open your mouth.
Right.
Because there's something about you that says, I'm a man. So really, it's really in us. So to me, it was a trick question, because all those leaders that didn't have that access, other than even what's that, you can say that Malcolm X had access when he went to prison and converted. But the thing about it is, the information was the information, but he manned up and did what he had to do, because he knew. I thought I was a drug dealer. I thought I was Chicago Red or whatever they used to call him. Said, I'm a man. I'm a king. I was literally born without $1 in my pocket. I'm a king. A lion doesn't need to bite somebody to be a lion.
Yep, right.
He doesn't have to roar to be a lion. Like a little lion king. I'm the son of a king. I'm a king. That should be stylish forefront. So losing, it should be evident. I don't care how big you think. It ain't about comparing my castle. I'm a king. Period in the discussion. And so I feel like it should get to the point to where it's clearly evident that I ain't finna beg for no laws. I'm a king.
Man, you know what? You said something. You talked about Malcolm X. You said Chicago Red. Man, I grew up around a pimp named Chicago Red. And that guy taught me probably my foundation on manhood. It came from the strangest place. A pimp named Chicago Red, South Dallas. He's from Chicago. He was a pimp, right? Yeah. So,
I don't know nothing about this guy, because I didn't grow up out here. But go. I'm interested.
He had this story he used to tell called a showroom car, right? And it was a story that he would tell about the value of a man. And it goes for anybody. When you go car shopping, and I'll make this fast for the show, the showroom car is the car everybody wants. It's got all the bells and whistles, dings and dongs. It's top of the line, right? It's got everything. There's some copycats on the lot, right? That basic model, the roll up the window model, and it's power seats, none of that, right? Them the other people.
Yeah.
Every person needs to look at themselves as the showroom car on the showroom floor, right? So what happens is, a car got keys. You put the key in the ignition, what you can do? Start it. Right. You start it, you can put it in gear, right?
Yeah.
You put it in gear, guess what you can do? You can drive it.
Yeah.
Once it go off the lot, it's what?
The value drops.
It's used. So we got to be protective of ourselves and first know that we the showroom car on the showroom floor, we the king, right? Yeah. So we can't give everybody the key to put in our back. You ever heard somebody say, man, you put the key in his back?
And it's the crazy thing, And the crazy thing is, another part of my journey, man, here's the thing. There's some fine women out here. I ain't gonna lie to you. But even that,
and they'll crash.
The guys, I promise you, because that was a point when I was really young. I was a guy. The guy who don't think he'll showroom, can't get nobody, because they're slanging it at everything. And it's to the point. It's like we don't see ourselves as kings to the part where we sit you down like, hey, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna do my thing, like, because we really ain't winning. We not winning, man.
It's crazy you said that, because I have that mindset now. It's like, I'm married, but I had that mindset, like, if I want to talk to a girl, she should want to talk to me.
Right.
Like, because I know who I am now, right? I can go into a room and be like, she beautiful, but she should be, I'm me. Like, I'm me.
Yeah.
And so when you said that, it kind of just brought me back to that place. It's like, I have that confidence in myself now. It's like God blessed me with all of my talents, my attributes, my intelligence, like all of that. It's like, dang, I'm me.
You me. So at the end of the day, it's the value.
It's the
most men don't know their value. right?
That's it.
And we wasn't taught our values. So there go the other piece that was Chicago Red Gate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna date myself again, right? Little girls are taught that they sugar, spice, and everything nice, right?
Yeah.
Young men not taught that, right? Young men were never taught those values early on, right?
Yeah.
So when people say, well, women mature at a faster rate than men because they were taught certain things about themselves early on, you know, the woman was always taught to preserve herself, protect herself. We was never taught that.
Yeah.
We was taught to go chase the cat.
Yeah, if you wasn't chasing, if you wasn't the first one out there,
Right.
you was laying, and they sitting there like, I want him.
Right. So for us, we had to come back to some of us came back to that space like you just said.
Yeah.
You the prize too.
Yeah.
You the king too.
You gotta know who you are.
You the gift. You know who you are, you know your value. So when it comes to why we lose overall, it's because we no longer know who we are. When you look back at kings and queens, not to say that peasants didn't exist, but we were shown as kings and queens because we knew our value, right? Unpacking that, and man, this might not even fit in this segment, but you know, it was war declared on us as black men a long time ago.
Yeah, fact.
Right? It's like chess, you know. Play chess, you know, to win the game you got to you know, defeat the king.
Nice.
But the most powerful piece on the board is the queen. Right? So when to get to that king, you got to get that queen first. Right? So they created a conflict in our family dynamic so that the king and queen fight. Right? And then they created other ways to get the king off the board. Right? Because at the end of the day, they already knew that we were kings and that we were the best and that we were powerful. You started off by saying, we ain't at the top of no list, we used to be.
Right. And you know what's crazy is, to your point about chess, I guess it's two things. For one, the king, he seems limited because he can only go one space at a time, diagonal, whatever. I don't know if it's just forward, back,
one space at a time.
One space at a time. Almost like a pun. But the problem is, everybody's still trying to protect him. And the problem is when I go on Facebook, YouTube, and I look meme after meme, I know people, I see all this stuff. There was a point in time where me being a normal guy who's blaming the world for this, that, or the other, I would look at this like, why women like this? Why women like that? Here's the thing. I believe, this is just me, and I've confirmed this to a lot of ladies that I've had the opportunity to just have good conversations about. A woman will protect what she sees is valuable.
Absolutely.
She will not leave what is valuable. And what is valuable is not so much what we think is valuable, because a lot of times we think it's everything else but us innately being a king, which is the first problem. Does that tell you? And we be thinking they be lying. They be like, you know what? Some women ain't trying to holler nobody at McDonald's. There's a bunch of chicks who at their level, they look at you like, oh, you the manager at McDonald's. They think you like everything. They can get fries. They can get extra hours if they work there, whatever like that. But there's a level of value to where even if you're not even this big king, there's still value in saying you're solid. And I would literally bend over backwards, because I've seen women bend over backwards for niggas that was trash. I don't know if I used to. People that are trash because they still saw king-like things in that person. You sort of like, why are you doing? Because there's something about that guy. Though toxic on the outside, he still was a king. And she was convinced that she was a king, so she been on back. My mom did it to an extent.
I'm gonna tell you why she did.
Go ahead.
Right? Women, I had this conversation a lot of time. Before I get into women, right? Earth has a name, right? Or something in front of it. What is it? Mother Earth.
Mother Earth. Oh yeah.
Nature has something in front of it. Mother Nature. Women multiply situations, right?
Yeah.
They're able to identify a single thing and multiply it, right? You give them one sperm, what they give you? Kids.
Yep.
Twins, triplets, quadruplets.
They'll multiply. So if a woman see something in you, naturally she feel like she can multiply.
Right.
That's why women look at a man in his worst situation and say, I can work with that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That's deep.
She'll look at him and say, I see something he don't see. Now I just got to peel it back and uncover. She go to gardening and raking off the edge and she fertilize them. She, you know what I'm saying? She get them ready to grow.
Yeah.
And a lot of men don't see that, right? So to your point in question. That's why a lot of women are the way they are. So back to it's a war on us.
Yeah.
But the women are the ones under attack.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So if they attack the woman, they can stop us from growing. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Come on, somebody.
If a woman tired of us, she gonna pass that to her daughter. Right? So when they attack that woman to be tired of the black man, then she teaches her daughter that she don't need a black man. And then if she got a son, eventually that son gonna say, I don't want to be a black man. And then if she have another son, he just gonna say, I don't want to be a man.
Wow.
Right? So
that's good.
That's the piece. You see what I'm saying? That's the piece right there.
Yeah.
And most people can't see it, so they don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
They don't know they don't know the next move.
Cause that's the thing. I spent most of my life, I promise you, that's another reason why I've been so clean. I spent most of my life with the mentality of I have to make myself into something.
Absolutely.
What's crazy is once I made change, especially 2020, because to your point about our other segment, you know how it slowed you down. 2020 was prison to a whole lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Especially me. It got to the point to where now once I realized, like literally in my business, I got more calls and more opportunities after I said, not in an arrogant way, but saying, dude, I've been the king the whole time. Now I think different, I move different, I interact with people. I get the deals done.
You know, I said something earlier on in the other segment, you know, I went from the dope man to the hope man.
Yeah.
Right? One thing I realized was that after knowing who you are, right? After you having this self-revelation, hope is the most valuable thing around, right? Hope will get you up to do stuff that you thought you couldn't do. It's when you don't think you can, you don't do it, right? So for me, that losing position comes because we're hopeless, and then we pass that hopelessness to the kids, and then it's like a disease, it's like an infection.
It's a cycle.
You know, it hits everybody, and we got to reverse that cycle. So if as men, we can find hope, then we have more to give. If we don't have none, we can't give it to nobody.
Right.
So when you see these kids that's hopeless, that's because they ain't seen a way out. They hadn't seen another option or another opportunity from a man. I'm gonna tell you this hurt me, right? But the young kid that I mentored, when I went to him, I found out he was in a situation that just got jumped, and he a little smaller guy, but he ain't got no problem with no pistol play. You know what I'm saying? Right. So his mom and a couple other folks, they just felt like, man, he finna go kill these dudes, and they trying to keep him in the house. So as a lady reached out, I shoot to South Dallas, I get there, I stop him, we have a conversation, and I asked him about 20 minutes into the conversation, I don't know him, he don't know me, 20 minutes into the conversation, I said, man, what you want from me?
Yeah.
You know, if I want to speak their language, you got to speak the language of the person you're talking to. They ain't got to necessarily speak yours, but you better speak theirs.
Right.
You know, otherwise they ain't gonna understand. So I said, what you want from me? He said, just don't leave. I said, oh shit.
That's deep.
Ooh. To hear this from, at that time he was 13. To hear that from a 13-year-old kid to tell a stranger, just don't leave, man, that shit hurt.
Yeah.
So we talked a little more. I said, why you say that? He said, because all the men I know don't never stick around. I said, oh.
That's a harsh reality too.
It's a harsh reality, and I needed it. Not to say that I wouldn't have stuck around after I fixed whatever was broken, but because he said that, he's still attached to me to this day.
That's wild.
You see what I'm saying? Like still. I told his mom and the other folks, he my other son now. Because he said sincerely to a stranger, just don't leave. And ain't no man ever did what they said they was gonna do, and they'll never stick around. And I'll be damned if I was gonna be the other or another.
And that kind of goes with what I said in that other segment is when you're consistent, you know, the drug dealer or the bad influence is consistently
That's
in
the influence.
kid's life. That's influence. You can have a positive example come in, but if they're there every so often 4 months and then they're gone and a new person comes, then it's like, I already know what's going to happen. I know the narrative. He's going to come in, he's going to talk all this good stuff, and he's going to be gone.
Right.
Like, forget that. I don't even need that.
So,
because I have this right here.
Right, because of that, he don't even respond to it well.
Exactly.
Yeah, in their mind, he done flipped it off.
Mm-hmm.
But this over here is consistent.
Yeah.
Even though it's the wrong thing for me.
Yeah.
But that's what I got.
And that's the thing about at least being born with this ideal to be a king. Because we feel it. We do it. We display it in different ways. But think about it. Because you can't, the downside of it is like you got stuff to prove. And the problem is if you go around these people's lives and you tell them things, but you don't, what they see and you still might not be, or they don't see it, they don't want to see that you're doing it the right way. It's like you didn't prove nothing to them. Because I said, once you get done talking to me, I still got to prove it over here because my ego is on the line. My life is on the line. Whether I do this is on the line. Whether you telling me stop chasing women, well, I'm on the line if I don't go chase these women. I'm the dude that don't get women. Because it's usually other guys. That's used to grow me up. It was used to be I was around more bad than good, which is coming. But I was when I left home, my mom tell me to do right. I go out there, it's like, dude, like you don't see what I got to compete with. Because you're a woman. Like, you still don't get it because you're not asked to prove. You might be asked to do other things, but you're not, you don't see it the way I see it. I got different challenges, and I don't, in that particular situation, to the other youth point, you don't have nobody in my life because dad in jail. I don't have nobody really do that. Now, fortunately, I did have multiple uncles, right? Which is probably the only reason why I didn't do a lot of things. But in general, I can see how feeling like I have something to prove, but then you come to my life or not being in and out of my life is like, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to do what I see, what I can get, what I can feel good about. I feel good about what I can prove.
Let me ask this. When we're looking at the next generation and how we change this whole cycle, how do we explain to them how to be a king when you get, at least for me, when I got to that level of thinking, it wasn't about showing off. It was about knowing I can step in a room. I don't have to have the nicest thing, but I know people are watching me. I know I run this room. How do you teach someone younger that same confidence when they're looking at what you drive, they're looking at what you wear, they're looking at how much money you're throwing in the air, they're looking at the women around you? How do you change that perspective? Because in my eyes, all of that is stupid. Like, it makes no sense to me. Right. And I'm a financial advisor, so throwing money in the air, I'm like, it can be invested in something, right? So how do you change that mindset when this is what attracts them, but they need to know that they don't have nothing. They have confidence issues.
Right. Two things, and I work my way back. You said attracts, right? You got to get them attracted to something else, right? Just as easy as that's attractive to somebody, it's not attractive to somebody else, right? Like me and you the same, as far as a strip club. Yeah. I ain't throwing nothing. Matter of fact, I ain't even going, right?
There you go.
If I'm ever at one of this business, right? Because I used to be in the entertainment business, and I'm there and I'm standing in the corner, I won't even sit down. I don't even want you to think I want to lap dance.
Yeah. Right.
I don't want nothing to do with that, right? So we have to train and change what's attractive, right?
Absolutely.
And you say, how do you teach? You don't necessarily teach by talking. You have to show them. You have to teach by showing, and you got to be consistent in that showing. So if you show up consistently in somebody's life, acting like a king, talking like a king, walking like a king, well, guess what? You're a king. And then they'll start copying it, right? And I'll say this because I experienced it, and it's one of the best feelings ever. It's rare that you'll catch me out of a suit and a bow tie. Rare. Right? You would have had to know me pre some other years to even know I got any other clothes. Right. I wear a suit and a bow tie every day, and I'm not in the Nation of Islam. Right? People ask me all the time. They're my homies though, right? But I won't even wear a regular tie. I made a conscious decision that this was going to be my uniform in life, right? So when I move around in certain rooms, I get received differently, automatic, And because of that reception, now I get access to certain things. I got some stories to tell you about what a suit done got me in life.
Yeah.
Right? I'm talking crazy stories, you wouldn't believe it. But I had one of my mentees, probably one of the ones in the negative the most, tell me and tell his folks, I want to dress like that every day.
Yeah.
And they asked why. He said, because it look like everybody respect him. As simple as changing what you wear.
Yeah.
Because if you wear a suit, then you got to walk a certain way in a suit, right? A suit don't allow you to move how you move in sweatpants and tennis shoes.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
You know what I'm saying? You walk a certain way. So when that becomes your habit, when that becomes your norm, it's a gateway to other attitude adjustments and stuff like that. So back to the losing piece.
Yeah.
It's the optics.
Yeah.
All right. So the piece on the optics is what it looked like. You know, people say perception is reality.
Right.
So a lot of that, I guess, pathway to not be in that losing position is to create a different perception, create a different narrative.
Yeah.
And for me, it's separating myself from what was normal. I decided, okay, I don't want to look like everybody else, so I changed what I could change, and that was my clothes first.
That's good.
It reminds me of Deion Sanders' quote. You look good,
You feel good.
You feel good. You
play
feel
good.
good, you play good.
Yeah.
You play good, you get paid good.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of that. Yeah,
Right.
you change what you wear,
Yeah.
you change how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know when I go to the gym and I got my gym clothes on, I'm ready to kill weights, but I can't do that in a suit, right?
Right.
It's just not going to get the right mindset, right? So when I put on a suit, then I kind of do walk kind of with my chest out, and I'm like, okay, I'm the man. Like I look different than everybody around here. Even if I walk into a restaurant, they not in a suit. I'm the man.
You're the only one in that restaurant in a suit, right?
Yeah.
So everybody in that restaurant gonna deal with you different.
And just perception of a man in a suit, he does some kind of business. He's successful.
Right.
Once you have that on you, I think that does start to change your mindset, which the mindset, like you said, is going to change the narrative. That makes sense.
The next piece of that is now you got to be accountable for that perception. You can't be out here in the suit and bun, right? So now you put some parameters on your life. Like, I can't walk around here in the suit and be broke.
Yeah.
I can't be in a suit and not have some sort of success. Success is personal, right? But I got to have the basics all the way taken care of. I'm not gonna run out here in the suit and have to go back to an apartment with no furniture.
Right. Yeah.
Right? You're gonna get some stuff in line, and if we can, I know we gotta wrap it up. You made a comment earlier about your father, and you was looking at him, expecting certain things from him, and I know I went through the same thing too. And man, I realized that a lot of the men didn't know no better. We thought they did, right? You always grow up assuming that the man knew better, or the daddy or the father, just because they were older or they was the adults and they knew better. They only taught us what they could. Right. If they knew better, they would do better. And they didn't do better because they didn't know better. So for me, I found myself in a space where it was a blanket forgiveness, for the most part, of any man who may have disappointed me or let me down or didn't live up to what I thought they should have. And I took on that role of expectation. And I said, it'll never be a man around me, a woman, a kid. It'll never be a person around me that'll look at me and feel like I didn't deliver. Because I know better. So I became who I wanted them to be. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was my starting point. My starting point was, who do I want my sons to see me as? Who do I want the community to see me as? Who do I want the lady in my life to see me as, right? And I intentionally became that person, over time. Every step I made was intentional to be that person I knew I had to be for the rest of the community, my family, in order to be seen as a king.
That's good. What I'd like to do is, I'd like to know what you would tell the people out there that are looking for that hand up, that are looking like, how can I get out of this situation and not lose? How can I change my perception so that I could be the king that I know I'm supposed to be, but I don't quite believe it yet?
Let me jump on to. I'm gonna use the words you use. Those words, they're perception word, and I'm gonna add something else to it. I believe every king should be focusing on his purpose and his perception. The thing about his perception, his perception must first start out being his reality, or else it's a facade. We're not supposed to be a facade. Most of us men, if you do not know your purpose, that either you choose or if you're spiritual, your relationship with God, your purpose, you don't even have a reality to build off upon. Because you don't realize you're a king, you don't have a purpose, you just around here wondering, bumming, and you might think you got something going on, you got a few things going on, you got money here, this, whatever, but you still don't even know. If I took all that away from you, if you hit rock bottom, like you said last segment, what you left with? You're supposed to be left with a king that knows his purpose. Now, I used to hear people say, if a billionaire, real billionaire, that's what they say, you take all their money, get them another year, 1 to 2 years with their connections, because they found their connections while on their purpose the first time. They can recover all of it because they know what to do, they know who, they know they're a king. Think about a king. A king has positions. They have resources. They have land. They have things that in order to get to fulfill their duty, their dominion, they have connections. They have purpose, and everybody follows them towards their purpose. So they know if what's name call you, you just went bankrupt. What's name call you? Bankrupt can be real money, can be figurative. I know who I can call to go ahead and get back where I need to get to. It's business as usual. And because my reality, I never had a facade. Their perception started out being my reality, and you should know what you want people to see. You should know that somebody should come say, "Hey man, you always wear a suit," but it started as your reality, and as their perception of you. You need to be doing that. So purpose and reality. So you can talk to a young man, and you can tell him all about this, but until you tap into his purpose, all he think you are is just a facade, because you said a bunch of stuff that didn't help him. So you find what the person wants. What that young man wants out there, or not even young man, it could be a grown man. I know, I had a 40-something-year-old sitting next to me crying because his family did this, and I'm like, sitting there, brother, go find your purpose. He said, man, I don't know if my wife kicked me out. I said, hey man, go to that shelter, and for the next 6 months, I want you to send me a text, and I want you to tell me what you got going on in your life. Because I didn't want disrespect to say, bro, you got to figure this out. I know you had a prison pass on the other side, but bro, you literally sitting here crying when you can go make some money. You really ain't got nothing. All you do is go back to jacking people. That's how he got in there the first time. Don't do none of that. Do it the right way this time, because they didn't serve you first the right time, because that was not your purpose. Your purpose wasn't to steal money from other people that's on their purpose. Your purpose was to go make another change in the world and make a footprint in the world, because that's what kings do. Kings are noticeable because they are their work, they are their reality, and it's their perception.
They got a legacy. So to answer your question, what I would say, it's a lot, but I mean, it's no short process. It's really no, I can tell you ABC, boom, and it's gonna change the world. So when you say that, I'm sitting here trying to figure out which piece to even, start with, because it's not on that person. So I think that's another big deal too, right? A lot of people think you can just say something to somebody and it'll change their life.
That's not true.
What my words have to come with some action from me. So what I do is, I don't necessarily just tell people what to do. I offer some help. So that's why it's so hard for me to be like, dang, what am I gonna say? Because I've gotten so used to doing it, right? I don't like lip service. A pair of lips will say anything, right? So for me, I can say, for the sake of saying, tune into yourself, learn who you are. They don't say how, right? Now that comes into another piece. Now what helped me, and I can say this, is pick up a book, like literally get off the internet, pick up a book and read a book, right? Read a few books. One good book will lead you to another. Because every good author gonna tell you about a book that inspired them.
Absolutely.
So I got a whole library at home, and I became a collector of books because I like to read them. So my advice would be, go get some knowledge. You know, put some fat on your brain because it's gonna take you into another world. Books tend to take you out of that place that you're in and put you in another space. You know, but for our purpose and for what we're talking about, there was a few good books. I read a book called A Purpose-Driven Life by a guy named Rick Warren.
That's good.
Hell of a book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Hell of a book, right? I mean, Carter G. Woodson got some old books that are solid. I found myself reading books, you know, and getting information from people who couldn't give me the information I needed. My dad, my uncles, my cousins, the people, they knew what they knew. They gave me what they could, right? They gave me enough of a foundation that I needed to go build on. Find some mentors, right? A lot of people don't know how to do that, so mentors have to make themselves available. But for the people who are young and, you know, you need to go find a mentor. If there's people out there that feel like they know something, become a mentor. And that's the only way that we gonna get out of this losing situation as men. Right. And the only way we get out of it is going to actively, intentionally, first fix yourself, right? You know something wrong with you, right? Be real about it. I knew when there was something wrong with me. I had some people around, and I told one person, look, I got to go fix me.
Yeah.
I can't do you right now because there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. That's good.
Right? But we got to be real with ourselves and say, let me go get my shit together. I'll get back at you in a minute.
Nice.
Right? And when you can do that and remember and recall how you do that, then you can help somebody else fix them.
Yeah.
I go find somebody that was in a situation just like mine and say, this is what I did.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
It ain't lip service. I walk with you on it.
Yeah.
Now you got 2 people.
Yeah.
And then you got 3. And 5, and 10, and 15. Now you got an army of people who ready to go fix some shit.
Yeah.
Right? So that's my deal. You know, I don't, man, you know, we can talk all day. You know, but you got to get out there and go do it. And I'll challenge both of y'all just like I challenge everybody else. Within your means, mentor somebody. 1, 2, 3. And ain't no field trip shit. Ain't no photo opportunities. Like,
behind closed doors.
Yeah, behind closed doors. You have to adopt that person. Whether it's a kid or an adult, whoever it is, that's where the change comes.
I strongly believe in that. It shouldn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be a photo op. Like just for the show and then you're gone. But you said something that I want to close on is some kids don't know how to find a mentor, right?
Right.
Well, if you don't have any good mentors around or you don't have any positive influences, the way you find it is in a book.
Absolutely.
If I know this author is someone who I want to be like, and they've wrote multiple books, that is my mentor opportunity. I don't get to talk back to him, but he's still pouring in knowledge into me via the book. I don't read. I do a lot of audiobooks.
Right.
So I'm listening.
Right.
Especially when I'm driving all around the city, just audiobooks. And I'll listen to it multiple times. So I'm with you. Books changed my mindset.
That was my escape.
It changed my whole mindset on how I see things. So definitely for those who are out there who are seeking just knowledge, seeking a mentor, seeking how to change their environment, I'm with you. Books. And if you don't like to read, listen to it.
Audible.
Man, I know books work so well, I wrote one.
So, with that said, man, that's some good stuff. We appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, comment, and post. We want to know your thoughts on the whole situation, on what we talked about, because this is really powerful stuff that's going to change the cycle, that's going to change people's lives. So again, thank you for tuning in to Between the Two Talks. We're happy you made it. We will see you next time.